I went to prison while I had a lot of student and credit card debt. Now I'm out, and I owe a lot of money. Posted by you/throw342. I went to college and graduated, but I went to prison soon after, about 18 months ago. I just got out on parole and am now looking at the aftermath of my finances. I'm getting so many letters and calls from so many different companies that I don't even know where to begin. I know I had 3 credit cards, 2 from Wells Fargo and 1 from Capital One. Apparently, Capital One sold off my debt a while back, but Wells Fargo still has mine? My student loans are all over the place. I know I took out some personal loans through Discover, but I'm lost when it comes to figuring out who holds all my regular student debt from the university. At some point, my loans started coming through another federal company because of some changes in the law, but I'm completely lost. I just got a big pink letter saying my student loans are about to default. While I was in prison, some student loan company found me and sent me a letter, and I was able to defer it for a year, but that time passed a few months ago. Right now, I'm jobless and crashing at a friend's house, but I'm aware of how serious a student loan default is. This is all beyond what I'm mentally capable of handling right now. I just went through a stockpile of letters that were saved from the past year, and I'm too overwhelmed to even know what to do first. What can I even do? Even if I had some crappy job, I'm an engineer by education. My first concern is a roof over my head and food. I don't even know what to tell these people once I figure out the mess of who I actually owe and what. Please help me. I stayed out of trouble in prison, continued studying, and tried to learn programming to maybe get a web dev job on the side. I want to do the right thing and get out of this endless black hole. Edit. I spent the last hour reading through every comment here, and I think getting a free credit report to see who I owe, since I haven't really had an address or phone, would be a good first step. I should have mentioned that my debt is mainly student loans, 80K public, 20K private, best guess, and my credit card debt is about 6-7K. So, I'm really unsure about declaring bankruptcy, but I will at least talk to a lawyer and learn more about the best route to take. Lastly, I received a lot of positive PMs and comments, and even that small boost from a message from an internet stranger gives me hope when I let something like this bring me down. I hope one day I can post an update saying I got a great job, beat the statistics, and gave hope to other felons who are trying to do the right thing. It was definitely a life-changing experience and has changed my views about the prison system in general. Thank you very much. Op in the comments. I went to prison for harassment. I went through a bad breakup 6 years ago, and I didn't go to court until 18 months ago. I called a lot, got charged, and still kept doing it. My lawyer said, "Don't worry, I'll get you probation," but it must not have been my lucky day because I got 3 years instead. I got out in 15 months for good time and parole. I'm glad you were able to start a career. This gives me hope since we have the same criminal history. Looking back, I feel embarrassed by my actions, so even thinking about having to bring it up in an interview is stressful, to say the least. Update 11 months later. It's been a year since I got out of prison. I had thought about updating for a few months but wanted everything to be absolutely settled before I did. I ended up moving to a more tech-friendly city, and the job search was still rough. I actually got a job offer 2 weeks after moving and was so excited to start. They asked about my background, and I was totally honest with them. After some discussion, they still wanted to hire me, but a few days later, I got a call saying HR wouldn't allow it. I was pretty beat up. Over the next few months, I had a few interviews and even job offers, but anytime the background check came up, I was denied. The only thing worse than not having a job is knowing you have the skills to get hired, but something like this holds you back. I'm not going to lie and say it was easy. I broke down some nights but picked myself back up the next day and put out my application again. I worked at a restaurant to make some kind of money, and it was rough. I was coming home with $10 sometimes and wondered if this was really going to be my life. I continued to get calls from debt collectors but ignored them every time. At the end of September, I was having a particularly rough week making no money at work, serving tables, and had a job interview lined up. I didn't really have much hope for this job but figured, screw it. Later that day, they told me I had the job, but at that point, it didn't even bring me excitement, as I'd heard that line before. I did the usual background check and waited for the fatal call. A call came that Friday, and I was told I was to start on Wednesday of the next week. I was confused and in disbelief. Every day for a few weeks, I expected someone to call me or pull me aside at work and tell me there had been a mistake. For the first 3 months, I didn't even bring anything to put on my desk because I figured it was only a matter of time. I worked there, making more in 1 week sitting at a desk doing what I loved than I was busting my butt for an entire month at a restaurant. Finally, one day in January, I was pulled aside. The hiring manager asked me to see him in his office, and he had a pretty serious look on his face. He sat me down and told me I'd been doing very well these past couple of months. My supervisors were impressed with how fast I'd caught on, and they decided to give me a promotion. I was blown away. So here I was, 4 months into a job, and I was offered a promotion with a great raise. I still work hard every day there. I study, learn more, and try to improve myself with programming every day. I look back at those few months when I was job searching and know that I made it as far as I did because even on days I was so depressed I didn't even want to get out of bed, I still got up and tried. What else could I do? I still worry about the future, but for now, I want to work here for a while, getting as much experience and time behind me so my criminal history will pale in comparison to my skills and drive to succeed. I've even managed to get a pretty good girlfriend who knows all about my past, and we've been dating for 5 months. She's supportive and is proud of how far I've gotten and how much I still do to make sure my past does not define me. I've helped a number of people start on their programming careers and have even given presentations for newcomers. Have I gotten some backlash? Yes, but screw those people. As for my loans, I've saved up an emergency fund for 6 months, and as of 2 weeks ago, I paid the last bit I owed on my credit card. I still have a mountain of student debt, but I pay it off bit by bit. I don't get any more calls about money I owe, and, well, life is alright. I hope anyone who is in a similar situation as me can look at this and know someone in the same boat as you has made it through and succeeded.